I've been invited. I've been invited to leadership and organizational change with churches in Africa, which is said to be a unique opportunity to create ways forward with African church leaders, international NGOs, and OD practitioners from the 3rd to the 7th of March in Mombasa in Kenya. And I've been trying to understand why this OD and Christian organization learning group, which basically is a network of more than 350 people from all over the world, who share an interest in learning about OD with churches and Christian organizations, arranged this meeting in Mombasa. My conclusion is that it is the core work of the OD and Christian organization learning group. Because the aim of the group is to inspire, to empower, to encourage, to share learnings and knowledge, to create linkages in different ways, such as monthly letters, web forum discussions, and member learning events. And I've been reading in order to figure out what will happen during this encounter. That the first 2 days will be about leading change in churches. It will be from different examples and participants' own experience. The next 2 days will be about catalyzing change in churches. But this is not enough for me. I still have some questions. And I am lucky because I have Rick and Lilian that are able to answer all my questions. Rick is an organizational change specialist with many years of experience with NGOs, mission agencies, churches, and government aid departments. He has written some books, and one is The Inspiring Change. Rick will be the lead facilitator in Mombasa. Lilian is also an organizational change specialist. Lilian works at Digni in Norway. She's a part of the planning team of the encounter. Is everybody invited? Because I have a friend, and I think she's a little bit interesting in OD. So could I bring her?
Hi, Klaus, and hi, everyone. This is Rick here. Good question about is everyone invited and whether you can bring a friend. Actually, Klaus-Johan, this is a specially selected group rather than an open invitation. If you're interested in friends, there'll be plenty of friends who are there, even if you don't know them yet. We believe strongly that if you get the right people together, then learning will take place. And so we see this event coming up as an interesting opportunity to encounter new people, new ideas, that'll help us all work better with organizational change and leadership with churches in Africa. But it is a very select and special group of people that are coming together.
Okay, too bad for my friend then. And I've seen the participant list, and there are a lot of people on that list that I do not know. Who are all these people, Rick?
We've selected a cross-section of key people who are involved in OD with churches in Africa. Most importantly, probably, we've included church leaders themselves. We have people like Nick Tandubale from the OAIC working with independent churches across Africa. We've got Bishop Taban from Sudan. We've got Bishop Michael Sunday from Kenya working with the Anglican Church. We've got Canon Grace Kaiser, who's in charge of the Anglican churches throughout Africa. And we're also very pleased to have with us this time Dr. Agnes Aboum, who's not only an OD specialist, but she's also just been appointed as moderator of the World Council of Churches in Geneva. So from African churches, there's a strong representation. We've also invited the leaders and managers of the development work of many churches in Africa and their Christian NGOs that are related to them. This particular meeting, we're focusing on NGOs and churches in Sudan, in South Sudan, in Ethiopia, in Kenya, Tanzania, and Cameroon. Some of the people that you'll see there are from Swedish and Norwegian mission agencies who are members of both Digni and the Swedish Mission Council, who work with these partners. So again, we wanted to get a cross-section of people, but ones who had direct relationships with each other. And just to throw in another interesting ingredient into the mix, we've got OD consultants who've got considerable experience of working with churches in different parts of Africa. Really rich cross-section of experiences here that will cross-fertilize learning in two parts. The first couple of days we'll have a broad group, including the general secretaries of these council of churches that I mentioned in SMC and Digni. And the aim of these first couple of days is to draw learning from practical experiences of change processes in churches from Ethiopia, from Congo, from Madagascar, possibly also from South Sudan. Processes will look particularly at this area of church mobilization, a slightly different way of working with development and local churches. Church mobilization appears to be taking off as an approach within many different denominations in Africa as well as elsewhere. It's a huge opportunity, but it does raise quite significant major organizational change challenges. So we want to look at the specificity of church mobilization. Those first 2 days will be focused on this broader group. The second 2 days will be we'll have a more focused group of African development agencies, the one mentioned, the Scandinavian mission agencies, and the OD consultants. And this time we'll move from that more strategic level into an operational level on practical skills, attitudes, issues in facilitating, supporting, undertaking OD processes with churches and with church agencies in Africa.
Thank you, Rick. It sounds like a very interesting group of people coming together. And now, Lillian, all right, I hope you're with me. And is this the first time the OD and Christian Organization Group has arranged an event like this?
In November 2010, the learning group organized its first encounter workshop at Corat in Nairobi. 30 participants from 12 countries in Africa, Asia, Europe, and America gathered together for 5 days. The main topics were on church organizations and spirituality, leadership and change, change implementation, and the role of a change agent. There were also some skills workshops on leadership coaching, managing change, writing, and team building. The participants also got the opportunity to plan their own organizational development work. It was also organized by the same organizations as this time, the Swedish Mission Council, Digni, Corat Africa, and Rick. I was there, and it was really a privilege to join the group of people who were interested, and they had a genuine passion about these topics. For me personally, it was like coming home thematically. Before coming to this encounter, wondering if it was worth working with this, because I felt a bit lonely, and it seems that there were many people who were not very interested in the topic itself, and many people think of results. But the encounter really changed my mind.
Thank you, Lillian. And I know, Rick, you were there in 2010. Could you please tell me something about the results of this first African encounter?
Yes, it's all very well meeting together and having a nice time and getting enthusiastic. And we know that there's plenty of workshops around that we enjoy going to, but they don't bring any practical fruit. I think what we felt last time was that there was practical fruit, that people left the event feeling inspired and encouraged to work on OD with churches in Africa. They'd had the opportunity to hear about other people's experiences with change firsthand. They'd learned new skills, they'd formed new relationships. They left feeling more confident about working with OD in their different roles. A number commented subsequently how the learning group had changed the way in which they behaved in their own organizations and supported OD processes in other groups. And through the group, I think they realized both the distinctiveness of working on change issues with churches. Churches aren't the same as NGOs or businesses. There are distinctive features. And so they felt they'd learnt what some of those were and how to address those. And one of the things that they also learned more of was the rich spiritual resources that faith brings to any change process. It isn't just a secular thing, but there is a spiritual dimension too. So that was one of the other things that they really took away and applied.
Interesting to hear about the results. Lilian, you said you were also there at 2010. Do you have any more example about what were the results of this encounter?
Yes, I do. I can really confirm what Rick just said. For me personally, being at the encounter in Aruba was like coming home thematically, as I said before. It was also crucial for my motivation to continue on this path, revealing that there were many people out there from different parts of the world asking the same questions as I used to do. That was just amazing and encouraging. So it was not just coming home thematically, but it was also coming together with people with the same passion, with the same interest. It was very motivating. It usually, in partnership relationship, we tend to focus on specific results. Those who work with OD and leadership development tend to work alone. Most people take it for granted that everybody knows about organization and leadership. So when the financial situation is tight and there are many activities going on, focusing on organization and leadership as thematic areas is like a waste of time and money. Therefore, coming together, meeting people, sharing questions, success and challenges have a great value itself. So I think that coming together for consultant is also very important. We who have passion for OD and leadership development could go on talking about the issue for hours. Most people are interested as long as the process could give quick results, but I think that most of the people having a passion for the topics, they are very, how can I say it, very engaged along the road, and they don't think only on the results, but the process itself is very important.
Thank you, Lilian. You convinced me that I should be there, and I want to be there as well. And then my question, Lilian, is what should I do before coming to the encounter then? What should I do to become a good participator?
That was a good question. To prepare yourself, I think you could do some specific things. You could fill the expectation form that Rick sent to all participants a few days ago, just for your preparation. You could also look at the participant list and try to figure out where the people come from, what they're working on, and to just get yourself reflecting. You could also visit our website. I think that you have got the address already from earlier emails, and you can sign up if you are not already a member. You could also download Rick's book called Inspiring Change. You can download it from our website, but remember that you will get the hard copy of the book in Mombasa. And last and most important is this: you could reflect on the best practices, the challenges you face in your work related to leadership and organizational change, and especially within churches and Christian organizations, because what you bring with you to the encounter will be very important for the dynamic in the encounter itself. So the more you prepare yourself beforehand, the more you will benefit from it.
Then I have to start to reflect on these best practices, the challenges I face in my work related to leadership and organizational change. But then we meet in Mombasa, and Rick, what should I do when I'm there? What should I do during the encounter to become a good participator?
I think so much of getting anything out of a learning experience like this is almost the appetite that you bring to it, Klaus. It's you know, if you're really bringing an appetite to learn, if you're bringing questions that bother you, and really having the courage to grapple with those questions, to challenge people, to probe, then I think you can get an awful lot out of it. I think it's about listening deeply to other people. You know, having been in this field for a while, I think, you know, we sometimes get a bit cynical. We feel we've seen things before. We stop really listening to people. So I think it's about being prepared to have some of our prejudices challenged, and also about making the most of the opportunities that are there. It's not going to be about spoon feeding participants with learning, with lots of input and lots of PowerPoints. It's going to be much more about allowing people the opportunity to encounter others and to ask questions. Ultimately, how much you get out of it will depend on how much you put in. And I suppose what I would say is, when you're there, if you could, you know, if you're able to treat that week away as almost like a sacred time away from your desk, away from your emails even, then I think you'll learn more. If we allow, you know, the constant emails to distract us from this, then I don't think we're going to be able to raise our eyes from the day to day. Emails will always be with you, but if you put an out of office on and really treat it as if you're out of office, then I think you'll get more out of it, because this is quite a unique opportunity to meet almost 50 people who are interested in the same topic, who come at it from similar angles, from different angles, but with very, very rich experience. So the more you can put into that, the more you can invest in that, the more you'll get out of it.
Okay, that was a hard one, but I promise I will try to be there and not in my inbox sending emails all the time. I promise you that. So that was during, but what about after, Lillian? What should I do after the encounter to become a good participator?
During the encounter, we will do a session on action planning, and that plan that you will make during the session will be related to what you actually are working on back home. So for the encounter to be of any value, the event has to be applied to your reality on the ground. So putting into practice what you have promised yourself that you would do is the best follow-up for yourself. Nobody will check out if you have done that or not, nobody would ask you about that. But you have to take responsibility of that part of the follow-up yourself. And you could also join our network online and share your experiences. And I think that That is our contribution for you after the encounter.
Thank you, Lilian, and thank you, Rick. Now I'm really looking forward to see you at the Leadership and Organizational Change with Churches in Africa in Mombasa.